But they are. The other thing is that, the real answer with all this is just technology. Let's say they ban guns. Great. Buy a 3D printer, knock out your own receiver. And then in terms of, and the 3D printer, by the way, is, these days you can buy a pretty decent one for $300. The hardest thing for any of us are the primers. I think Bracken might have an opinion on that, but I mean, basically, we are sidestepping this leviathan of the government by outwitting them with technology. And, they eventually can't ban 3D printers and all these other things, even though they're trying to ban drones.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask Bracken before he leaves. That's a great question. Thank you, Mark in Tennessee. How do we resist this? Obviously, we get bold. We exercise our free speech. We run for office. We create our own media platforms. We go out and, I mean, look, it's HUMET, folks. I have infiltrated the anti-gun groups, caught the bribery, and stopped gun bills in Texas 18 years ago. I'm not bragging. I was nobody special, but I had the will to stand up against folks trying to take my guns. I exposed people stealing farmers and ranchers' property. People went to jail over that. I exposed the cable commission takeover of Access TV, sent the director to prison. And I'm telling you, anytime I've taken action, I'm not bragging. People, I mean, I bring them down. And I'm just telling you, so many folks just don't have the will to stand up and take action. I'm not that smart, folks. I've been on there.
Be brave.
Go ahead.
We have to be brave. We have no choice. They want us to submit. That's the meaning of Islam. It's also very allied with socialism. Their motto is the ends justify the means. You have to, break a few eggs to create an omelet, as Mao said, meaning murder millions of people. We have to be brave. We owe it to the next generation. The torch of freedom has been going for 200 years. Damn if it's going to drop on my watch without, me dying in a brass up to my knees. Because whether or not we can make primers, we'll take the damn things from the stooges on the other side. But in the meantime, before the hot phase of Civil War II breaks out, I consider ourselves now in Civil War cold phase before it breaks out. This alternative media platforms are critical. The internet could be taken away. But in the meantime, great websites like Western Rifle Shooters Association, which does not refer to sporting, to shooting targets. It means like Western civilization, people with rifles. That's where I go. That's like an exchange for ideas on conducting the resistance.
Sure, and let me give folks some good news. The delusional leftist and control freaks, they always think they're invincible. They're mentally ill. They're megalomaniacs. We're holding back, trying to fix things peacefully. They're arrogant, but most of what they do ends up failing. It's just that we're not resisting enough. So even though their failures just continue on because they're able to try again, they're biting off more than they can chew in this phase. I'm here to tell you, they're going to lose people. The question is, how bad is it going to be in the process? We're only affecting the battle space right now. Go ahead.
And at some point, I expect the lights to go off. At some point, I expect we'll see there's some big emergency, a big bright flash scene in the Middle East, and an hour later, the network news is off. Then we'll be on our own. That's when a purge might begin. Well, I've got news for the boys and girls down in the fusion centers. You've got powerful computers and all the data mining and the predictive programs, but you've also trained millions of special ops troops. You've got millions of people, millions, with rifles that can hit at 1,000 yards. And that's why I'm so glad to see the images of these traitors running away at Bilderberg.
Well, let me give you the good news. I'm sure you know this already. Most people in the fusion centers are awake and are on our side. Not even 5 years ago. I don't think there's hardly any police, except in leftist-controlled areas. The police are super awake. They're going to go back and take care of their families if this goes down.
Right.
Well, this is very important to remember. And this is why I picked the name Enemies Foreign and Domestic, 12 years ago when I wrote my first novel. It has to do with the oath that we take. We don't take an oath to Homeland Security or to the Patria or Fatherland or the Fuhrer. We take an oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So word to the generals, and domestic. We're paying attention. It's like Santa Claus. We're making a list and we're checking it twice. When the lights go out, if you think there's going to be some kind of a purge, and when we wake up, we're in a socialist paradise, you might not wake up. So it's just something for them to think about.
Well, look, I mean, there's some top generals that are sold out, but, it was General Dempsey and others who went to Obama and said, we're not going to back al-Qaeda in Syria. The word is there's pretty much like a Mexican standoff in the government right now.
I hope so.
I'm going to skip this break. I'm going to skip this break. It's just too important with the terror attacks that have happened. We're doing a fourth hour anyways. I want to go to 2 more phone calls, and I'm going to start handing it over to David Knight. And Bracken wants to go with the rest of the hour, and Leanne's going to be here. I've got to go do planning and a bunch of journalistic research for big stories we're about to launch. It's just a total war room here. Totally crazy. And the amount of intel we get fed now that's so accurate. I got to say, the information I've been given by people in the Pentagon and Congress has always been dead on. The information I get people like Roger Stone, dead on. And I realize with the folks that really care about this country, they know what's going on, and they're not just pushing propaganda out through this outlet. They're risking their lives giving us the info they're giving. And I'll tell you what's happened. There's now reached a critical mass in the military at the special ops and then officer levels above that people are so pissed about what's going on, they don't even care anymore. So I think the establishment's pushed back past that point where people kept hoping we could just play patty cake and things would get better. And once the real war starts, which it is an info war now, and it's going to continue to be one, I hope, that once the gloves are off, once you're in a fight, you're not scared anymore. Or you were never scared to begin with. Once the fight's going, hey, you wanted this, you're going to get it. And I'm already seeing that attitude in people that they're just done playing games. Are you seeing that, Bracken?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The nervousness is on the ride in. You know, after it's flying around, then it's, you're just doing what you're going to do.
Absolutely.
If anybody the thing also I have to say is we're really, the liberals have been raising a generation of sissies in Germany and America, and they want a generation of sissies, timid sissies. But we're not all sissies. There are still men that raise their sons right, and daughters. I mean, my son and daughter, they shoot. And I'm telling you, we're not all sissies out here. They would like to beat us down into a bunch of passive metros, but it's not going to happen. There are patriots out here that are as brave as, Daniel Boone and Davy Crockett. And when it comes to it, even if the power goes out, the old saying, think globally, act locally. Well, that could go for Civil War II also. So like Santa Claus, we're making a list and checking it twice.
Now, all I know is I look at Hillary and Obama and these weak people, and they're doing all this evil stuff. They're like vandals. Like it's satanic. They want to just burn it down. They're not make it better. They're just crazy. Robert in Orlando, then Marguerite in Oklahoma. Robert, thanks for holding so long. Go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, Alex. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, brother. I'm real sad for the people that are dead.
Yes, I live over here in Orlando. I'm actually a candidate for Orange County Commissioner. My name is Robert Melanson. Anyway, about 2 months ago in March, actually, we had a shooting in one of the nightclubs. It was on Universal Boulevard, which is more near the tourist areas over there. And I was going around campaigning because all the nightclubs have Orlando police details there. They have extra duty police officers there. And I rose the issue of why are they not putting metal detector wands and checking the people going in before they even can enter into the club. The last shooting that we had, there was 3 extra OPD officers over there. Now, you can check on the official city website what's going on over here. They will not report what actually occurred and say it in the actual what actually happened, because he was in the club shooting, and then he was chased out of the club, so he left out of there, and then he went back in. You see? And
all I know is if somebody tried that here, there's a gun under every table. It's so alien to me. People just like jellyfish who just have no guns, the parking lot should have been full of guns. I mean, it's just hard to believe people that roll over. Mm-hmm. It really is. Well, let me ask you this. Why do you think the SWAT teams stood down for 3 hours?
Well, I think that they should have just busted the doors down. The police acted suboptimally, and it really hurts me that I have to criticize the police, but the mayor had put in an email about what the police chief was praising about how the incident unfolded and everything else. But at the end of the day, I spoke to one of the opposition candidates. He's a former OPD officer. The police, they get so many emails throughout the week that they don't even look at them. and it kind of just goes to their junk folder about what kind of updates and things they're supposed to be getting.
No, so it's all impossible. Everything's degenerating. All I know is the default since Columbine is to go in there as quickly as possible, and this was a default stand down.
They wanted to put the cameras here in Orlando. They wanted the police officers to have the cameras on them, and they said they didn't get the memo that it was a conflict of interest, because what ended up happening was some of the people that worked as police officers also worked as the vendor for the camera that they.
No, I hear you. Listen, I'm going to jump, but I appreciate your call. You know, here's all I know. They're trying to blame the Second Amendment and pass hate laws so none of us can say hurtful things, so we don't stir the Muslims up, and that is antithetical to common sense. They brought in an invading force. They have a plan. They think they're going to be able to manage this plan and get us to run up the white flag. It's not going to happen. Margaret in Oklahoma, last caller. Go ahead.
To contrast the difference between the FBI and letting these jihadis do their thing, and in throwing innocent Americans into prison forever. That in the case of Schaefer Cox and Lonnie Vernon and Karen Vernon.
Sure, I'm having trouble following everything you're saying.
Okay, I'll slow down.
No, just back off your phone a little bit.
Okay. The thing was the FBI had a mission to put go after conservatives before the Obamacare vote.
Yes, yes. We got the secret documents first, and then it was all mainstream news that for the last 6-7 years, there is no Islamic terror. They're supposed to do no Islamic terror investigation because it doesn't exist, and that it's only lone wolf conservatives, libertarians, returning veterans, gun owners, which is a stand down. Have them go spy on people that have the lowest crime rate while you bring in all these folks that can't get along with each other and kill their own people. So that's a great point. Is that what you're getting at?
They made up a story that Schaefer Cox wanted to lock people in their houses and burn them up, and that he wanted to kill two of the government for everyone. But these were entirely the FBI operatives. The Schaefer Cox says, no, that's not who we are.
Sure. I appreciate your call. Yeah. You've got a little bit of a phone problem, so I'm not making everything you say. But yes, the leftists in the government created Elohim City. They bombed Oklahoma City. It's total proof. That all the witnesses on that saw the feds in there with the bombs. Yeah, that's a big problem. What about false flags, Mr. Bracken? What about the left staging events and blaming it on us? I mean, they're already blaming us for this Islamic attack. So that, I mean, in a way, that's a false flag. They let them in, they let them attack, then they blame us.
It's interesting, the false flag concept. You're not going to ever find a direct chain of orders, with Hillary Clinton or Obama's initials on something. There's a terrific book and movie out in the 70s or 80s called The Parallax View.
It's excellent.
Where you set up a patsy. That's the premise of my first novel, Enemies, Foreign and Domestic, which starts with a shooting into a stadium, precipitating a mass panic stampede, thousands of people going off the top deck and being crushed, blamed on assault weapons, which are then banned for the purpose of instigating a civil war. In the case of the thing that I could see now, like the LOM City situation, you find the wing nuts that are ready to go off, and you have cutouts and intermediaries supporting them, sort of parallax view style. I have a short story called Professor Raoul X, about a guy on his summer breaks who goes around finding lunatics that he's learned from his college classes, asking people, who's the wackiest person you ever met? And he goes and finds these people and steers them towards being assassins, giving them the weapon, the money, the very fringe characters.
Sirhan, just read the cover, though. There's another shooter, but totally. They have the quack there.
Absolutely.
Fast and Furious was a false flag. We caught him in that. So the good news is they know we're onto them.
Yeah, the shooter for Martin Luther King absolutely had help. There's no question. What's his name?
James Earl Ray.
Right. No question the man was supported all the way through. Now, was that a CIA operation? Probably not.
Probably a white supremacist subgroup within the FBI.
Three or four steps of cutouts. But the thing that I would like everybody to keep the eye on the ball, the really big macro picture, is the Constitution and the oath that everybody in the military and the police takes. It's either going to be Sharia law as supreme, meaning if you insult the Muslims, we're going to put you in jail for instigation or creating a public nuisance or what have you. Either that's going to be supreme, which is what Hillary wants. She wants that UN Resolution 1618 outlawing free speech. If